Let's start with what's been dominating social media today, at least in the wrestling side of things. CM Punk apologizes for his blood money tweet. During today's kickoff event for Night of Champions in Riyadh, CM Punk publicly apologized for his controversial and since deleted tweet from 2020. Just for context, back in early 2020, Punk was part of WWE Backstage on Fox Sports. When he made his debut at the end of the previous year, I think it was at the end of the first episode, I think he sort of came out to surprise everyone. He said to camera, "It's as simple as this. Just when they think they have the answers, I change the culture." The Miz made fun of this, and there was a bit of to and fro, and then on social media. And then Punk went nuclear in one of his tweets that he fired back at the Miz with, "Go suck a blood money covered dick in Saudi Arabia, you fucking dork." The tweet's been a talking point really ever since Punk's return to WWE. Would he go to Saudi, or how long is it? Is it a matter of if, not when, etc.? Fast forward to today, and a man in the crowd at the kickoff event wearing a SmackDown cap asks Punk to apologize for these comments.
This guy wants me to apologize for a mean tweet I wrote 6 years ago. Hey, listen. Legitimately had nothing to do with Saudi Arabia. I woke up and I was crabby and I wrote a mean tweet to The Miz, and I apologized to The Miz. And sir, what's your name? Mohammed? Here, watch out. I'm going to step right here. Mohammed, I sincerely apologize to you and all of Saudi Arabia. Okay?
I don't know whether this was a genuine interaction or not. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist, but guy with SmackDown hat that sort of looks like it's been given out.
As always in pro wrestling, you are right to be skeptical in a situation like this. I guess we could play out that scenario, but we do have to ask, like, if they wanted to set the stage for ultimately like a CM Punk public apology, would this have been the best way of doing it? Did they need to do this, or could they have simply done something else? Either way, I mean, it's healthy to ask these sort of questions. Is it so hard to believe that somebody would buy and wear a SmackDown hat, Neil? You don't want to represent your favorite Friday Night B show?
I can only speak for myself. I don't bleed blue. I know that the competitors used to, when it was the one time a year at Survivor Series, when brand versus brand and all of that. But okay. I guess it's not that hard to believe that someone would buy a SmackDown hat. But
looked like the old school SmackDown logo.
Very conveniently placed, to interact and sort of. And if you watched this in context, Punk is getting booed, and he's getting "shut the fuck up" chants from this crowd.
So perhaps there was also notable footage of Punk appearing in those like walk-in shots during the kickoff, to which he received tremendous boos as well. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think it's tinfoil hat territory to think that they maybe had a well-rehearsed piece of PR up their sleeve.
Sure.
For this. So it's a possibility, or it could have been a completely genuine off-the-cuff interaction with a fan. I don't know whether it was a work or a shoot or is kind of irrelevant here. It's really, does this crabby mood excuse hold any water when the tweet was so specific in its references? What do you think?
Does it hold water?
It's G1 Climax season, and that means the Post Wrestling Cafe has you covered with podcasts covering every single tournament match. Plus, we've got Rewind Away going back to 2005 to review Vengeance featuring Triple H versus Batista in a Hell in a Cell match. John and Way are going to be reviewing F1 the movie starring Brad Pitt, and of course, XL editions of Rewind a Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. Ad-free with the news of the week and your feedback. Sign up now at postwrestlingcafe.com.
So let me just continue, okay? There's a little bit more to, I guess, the day's discussion here, because shortly after this, I believe this was David Bixenspan man who managed to discover a 2019 clip from the Barstool podcast, Pardon My Take, in which CM Punk said,
How many Saudi Arabia shows do they have to do to bring back CM Punk?
I'm not doing a single one
No, I'm saying
of
how many
those,
they
yeah.
have to do to get the money to pay you.
I don't know. What's the deal? On
I don't.
that?
They make a lot
That's
of money.
so,
off
this
those
sounds
things.
so shady.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very shady.
Come on.
It's very shady.
It's like backyard wrestling for MBS.
Yeah.
Just like him and
Yeah,
his friends.
right?
So this is pointing to maybe further evidence that probably bullshit, that this tweet was only just a grievance airing directed towards the Miz rather than a bigger sort of like opinion about Saudi Arabia in general. Listen, at this point, I've just come to accept that what we are seeing in Phil Brooks is somebody who's there to do his job, who's there to, play the role of CM Punk. And, due to, you could suggest contractual obligation or just due to like personal, yes, monetary gain, ultimately, I don't really know if like I have a bigger judgment on like him as a character anymore, because I don't really buy into him as a bigger character beyond what I see on screen. And that is a professional wrestler there to fulfill a role. From this point, I would even say for quite a while now, I think it's unhealthy to like see a greater sort of like, I don't know, ethical like standard in like certainly our celebrities and certainly our professional wrestlers. And I think audiences should learn not to make those sort of like, I think, I don't know, exaggerations when it comes to like these sort of figures. So as a pro wrestler, like I thought he was just here to diffuse the crowd to assure a babyface reaction, which is the intended reaction that his character should be receiving, both tonight and also for tomorrow night's show.
For sure, absolutely. A well-worked piece of business, as they say. I think the issue with Punk is, and I agree with you, why we should not set these people up on pedestals. The issue with Punk is this is a guy who made it his brand to be more authentic and to sort of break the fourth wall. And in his time in AEW, which wasn't that long ago, he was the guy who on his ring entrance would be sure to stop and make sure the camera is on him as he points to the trans rights or human rights flag and do the thumbs up. He's now in a nation where same-sex relations are punishable by death, and apologizing effectively to that regime for something that he said. I think that's why he's catching an awful lot of flack, more so than anyone who went to Saudi Arabia right from the greatest Royal Rumble. And all I'd say about it is he's a big boy. I don't think this probably bothers him, but he can't, in all conscience, be unbothered.
Let me just stop you there.
Sure.
I bet you it really bothers him. I don't think he'll ever admit it, but I would say thick-skinned is not exactly a trait I would use to describe Phil Brooks from what we've seen of his interactions. I really would not. Now, would he ever sell that he's bothered by it? I don't think so. But is he bothered by it? I would personally, I would suggest personally, in my opinion, yes.
Yeah. I don't want to spend all night on this, but I did want to bring up that point because of his branding not so long ago as this, guy who is different, and, he's now just part of the corporate machine in TKO and WWE, and that's what we've got to come to grips with as, like you said, there's hero worship or sort of expecting these people to be a moral compass. Probably not the thing to do.
So maybe just kind of like, you want to call it a conspiracy theory, fine, sure. But otherwise, I have a very strong feeling that I don't think Punk would be engaging in this sort of discussion unless there was a prior discussion that he had with the producers of the show afterwards. I mean, okay, maybe the guy wasn't a plant, fine, whatever. But I'm sure like there was some discussion back there that said, hey, if you see an opportunity, address it. Address the tweet and find your way to apologize to this crowd so that, we can make things right. And I have to think that was discussed. And I think we can also, whatever the case, this was an effective piece of, I guess, content for the WWE towards that aim, because they ended up airing this apology for the live crowd at SmackDown.
Yeah.
Not on air, but in
Before it is.
arena. Yeah. So what does that tell you? I mean, at the very least, they were happy this apology took place, and they wanted it. They wanted enough people to see it to assure that Phil Brooks wasn't going to get booed. While we were playing with conspiracy, okay, how much do you think there might be to the idea that WWE may be specifically placing Phil Brooks into this clearly very difficult situation?
To punish him in some way. It would be
Perhaps.
absolutely from the Vince playbook. If Vince were still in power, I would have absolutely no doubt that from this moment to SmackDown going off the air, and we'll get to that in the review, I guess. Absolutely, I'd be 100%. That's what's happening. With Paul Levesque, I'm not as sure, but he's certainly, learned from Vince over the years. You don't have to read some of these books that I've been reading from for our book club to know that during Vince's tenure, right from more or less the beginning, Paul Levesque was a politicker, and I think he learned an awful lot from Vince. So who knows? But certainly Punk is going along with this, and he seems to be somebody who has a bit of leverage, at least more so than some would have.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to wear Palestinian colors in the ring the other week, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's a very interesting situation. It still is. The fact that it's a part of the story is also a very interesting thing. And despite what we saw tonight, I still think it's very much up in the air what the reaction to Phil Brooks, CM Punk will be tomorrow night in that match against John Cena. So it's very fascinating.
It is.
Very, yeah.